So welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we have another customer interview. We are joined with Femke. She has gone from 0 to 15,000 a month now with her agency.
Yeah, I'm about to go to 18 because I have a check coming in like 3K. So
nice, cool. And what I'm curious, what is the structure? Because obviously we had a bit of communication before, and you were mentioning that you've gone through like a bunch of different variations, a bunch of different iterations, you've gone through a bunch of different offers. And now I think you mentioned you're 60% consulting and 40% kind of like the typical structure. So I'm curious, how does it look right now?
So right now, what I have is mostly consulting clients, right? I noticed a lot of people don't really feel, or at least what I do is also work with local clients. So it's not just people in the US or people in Australia, but I also try to incorporate local clients. And for them, they don't really have the budget to pay like a $2,000 retainer. So what I do is get on like a consulting coaching basis with them. So just walk them through everything. And for the retainers that I have is mostly for the clients that are doing really well. I see their product market fit and I can basically deliver results for them. And the reason why I switched to this is because I didn't want to let, most of the people that I got onto calls with weren't really that qualified. I mean, since the iOS update, the barrier to entry has gone a lot higher. So all the requirements that I had, a lot of people didn't meet it. So I was like, okay, how can I still help these people, still make money from them without, losing out on it? So I decided, okay, if you don't have the money for an agency retainer, how about, I still help you, but with a lower fee. So
what does the split look like with the 15K? Is that the 60% of like, the monthly income that you make, the 18K, 60% of that is the done with you, the coaching side?
No, so a large part of that is still retainer. So getting to 15K, little did I know, you can literally only do that with 3 clients, and the 3 clients that I have are like really good big clients, and hence why I put them on retainer. So a large part of that is the retainers, and then I'd say like it's 70-30. So 30% is like the consulting.
Got it. Okay, cool. What does your service look like at the moment in terms of like deliverables and whatnot?
So what I do right now is I have Facebook clients, which I've had, right? But right now we focus solely on SMS. No email, no Facebook, nothing, just SMS.
Nice. And obviously I take it you found that to be a more effective medium of delivering results than Facebook ads? Yeah.
I mean, Facebook ads still works, don't get me wrong. It's just, I mean, a lot of people want to focus on, retaining more clients than putting more money into their ad spend. And hence why I was like, okay, how can I get the same result without, doing what everybody else is doing? And I saw not a lot of people were talking about SMS. Everybody was like jumping from Facebook. Then I saw like the wave go from Facebook to like email or like Google. And being in this space for like 2 years, I just realized, I don't want to do what everybody else is doing. I want to like go as far away as possible from that. So I was like, what is least spoken about? And found that to be SMS, and it's working really, really well.
And did you come to the realization of that after you was trying to go down the same route everyone else was coming to, and you were like, this is not working, I need to change something? And so how did you see because it sounds like all you changed was the offer, right? So like, how did that change the results that you've seen in the outreach and the outbound prospecting and stuff of that nature, going from offering what everybody else was doing to now doing this super unique approach of SMS marketing? How did you see that have an impact on the outbound prospecting and client acquisition?
So I didn't just change the offer, I changed, I can't tell you enough, to be honest. It felt like I had to start my business over and over again. Like in the 2 years that I've been in the space, I felt like I was building, then shutting down, then building, then shutting down. So I completely changed everything. The way that I approach email, the way that I approach, messaging prospects on social media.
Mm.
I didn't go in for like the hard salesy approach. And even with the template that's given, in the course, the number one thing that I would say is, and you say it in the course as well, don't follow this template. But trust me, a lot of us are really, really lazy. And the mindset that we have is like, no, I'll just tweak a few things, I think everybody will just copy and paste. And trust me, everybody just uses the templates as they are. And I noticed if one thing is released on YouTube, everybody uses it. And I'll look at like the view count and I'm like, I'm not going to use this. So I decided to completely go the opposite way, change my emails, change the way I approach clients. And it's been a complete like 180.
Yeah, for sure. So have you seen like obviously, you've been able to sign more clients this way, but have you seen it just how people respond and how people interact with you and stuff of that nature? Like, how's that been impacted by it? Because like this is what I'm really trying to push now, is the fact of like doing the same thing that everybody else is doing doesn't work, and I think you're a really good example of like showing how it doesn't work and then what can happen when you change it and you go kind of not against the grain, but you just put your own spin on things. How did that impact, as I say, like the response rates and open rates and conversations and stuff like that?
Oh, it went up like
yeah.
And I was not used to that. Like, let me tell you, I've went from like people just outright like swearing me, getting negative responses, not even positive. So I was like, how can I go from like completely negative to like just nothing, at least just saying I'm not interested. So I went in stages, and then that completely changed from like negative to no, then from like no response at all to like just open rates going up, response rates going up. And it's been amazing, to be honest. I've shared some screenshots of my emails also in the group below, and you'll see compared to what I did like 6 months ago, and this change has been recent, right? Compared to what I did 6 months ago to now, responses just have been so amazing. I mean, clients will like message me and tell me, I never get an email like this. Thank you so much. I love your unique approach. So that's when I knew after
yeah. And so you're still doing email as well, which is very, very interesting, because I think another thing a lot of people look at is like, oh, I need a different medium, right? Or is it Instagram or emails that does better? Or is it Facebook or this or that? But it sounds like you've kept the same medium, you've kept emails, but you've just changed the offer, you've changed the content, and you've changed the messaging essentially, right?
100%. I don't use anything else. What I do is just, I'll send an email, and after I see there's a bit of an interest or a response or click and they haven't responded, I'll follow up on another medium. But email all the way. I think most of these businesses use email. So I just needed to change my approach.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. I think it's what a lot of people need to do. But I mean, you're a very good example of it, of you doing it and changing it and then actually seeing, results come from it. So you mentioned you was at 15K a month from 3 clients, right? So you got 3 clients at 5K each.
Yeah.
So what's like, because obviously, a 5. Oh, go ahead.
No,
not
sorry, 5K. Most of it is like a combination of consulting and retainer. So the retainers is 3K upwards, depending on the client. So like 3 to 3.2 to 3.3. And then the rest is just consulting.
Okay, got it. So a lot of, people who are just starting out in the space and whatnot would think of like a 3K a month client to be crazy high numbers. Like I know what, like when I started, like there was no way I was signing a 3K client, right? Like my first client was like 1,000 and then I slowly increased, and you were the same. So I'm curious, like, what do you feel as though, like what's enabled you to sign 3K a month clients from where you started at maybe whatever it was, a couple hundred, maybe 1,000? What's been the thing that's changed that's enabled you to now sign multiple clients at, 2.5, 3,000 and above?
It's been a combination of things, to be honest. Like my mindset has completely changed from when I started, let me say. When I started, I was a complete sane. I was like, there's no way I can even charge $1,000. All the way in South Africa. Like how? That's like
Yeah.
10K from me locally. How can I charge $1,000 USD to people I've never even met? So I had that imposter syndrome, and Facebook was getting to a point where it was just really commoditized. So I felt like I was competing on price.
Yeah.
And then ROAS deals came in and everything just, that became also really popular. So I was like, how am I going to do this? So I had to work on my mindset, really. That's nothing else I can say compared to just really working on my mind and changing my limiting beliefs, because I had so many, so many. So I had to work on that, change that completely. And with SMS, I realized not a lot of people know about it. Not a lot of people are doing it. In fact, I've been looking for courses on SMS. I've only found one. So this service is completely new, and it's not new. The medium is not new, but e-commerce businesses using it, I mean, it's fairly new, to say the least. So I realized, I mean, I'm going into this game with no courses, nothing. I really have to just, you know, do everything myself. You know, I'm treading waters that not a lot of people are doing. So I realized it is a valuable service, and I'd have to hire really good copywriters. So that's when I realized there's no way I can charge just 1K for this. It doesn't make sense. I'm not going to be able to profit. So yeah, but mainly mindset. I had to work on that, to be honest.
And so is that how you primarily did it, was through kind of experience and logistics, where you're like, look, I can't charge $1,000 a month for this, so I need to charge 3,000, so I may as well just pitch it, and I just need to do it? Or was it more like, did you do anything else to help that mindset and help that imposter syndrome? Or was it just more, you know, your hand was almost forced with the deliverable?
Yeah, it was a compound of things. Experience, it was the fact that, you know, it wasn't going to be profitable if I charged anything less. And also mindset. So those three things, it really was a compound of everything. And I was like, no. Also, I mean, I only changed recently. I changed to SMS. It's been like 3 months, 4 months. So it took me a while to actually get to this point. If I started like 2 years ago since I dropped out. So yeah.
Yeah, right. So kind of off the back of that, then I suppose, you know, with other people starting and they've not got the experience, and they've not really, you know, they've not had just the at bats that you've had over that 2-year period. You know, you say you've just recently switched to this new offer, like, you know, 3-4 months ago. What would you say to those who are just starting out and they don't want to obviously go ahead and just do the same thing that everybody else is doing? Like, how would you go about, if you was to start back at zero today, how would you go about finding that kind of, you know, unique offer, that unique niche to provide a solution for? Like, how would you go about doing that without the past experience? Or would you say experience plays a big part in finding it?
Yes, experience does play a big part. But if I were to tell my younger self, I would definitely say observe the game, like sit back and see what everyone else is talking about. Observe, learn to observe where the market is shifting, right? Like look at what's really popular on social media, what everyone's talking about, and go completely go the opposite way. And then also, I would say work on your cold emails, work on, you know, learning about cold emailing. I think that's the thing that also made the biggest difference. And also, yeah, those two, you know, look at the market, look where it's shifting, look at what's popular, completely go the opposite way, or look for things that really aren't spoken about that much, right? Number two, work on your cold email, work on how you approach the clients, because that it makes the biggest difference. Right now, I mean, the world is globalized. Everyone has access to the same audience, whether I'm in South Africa, Malaysia, India, Australia. Everybody
100%.
has access to it. So you really have to work on finding a different approach. And that approach will obviously, there's no one size fits all. It has to, you know, take into account your personality, the way that you, I mean, something very unique to you. I would say that. But look at the market. That really tells you.
Yeah, 100%. I completely agree. I'm curious personally. I think other people will find this interesting as well. How did you go about, you say you just switched this new offer 3-4 months ago. How did you go about like going deep into the offer so that you could actually deliver the transformation, right? Because like, Facebook ads or SMS or whatever, like these are all good mechanisms. And it's things that it's like that unique mechanism that can catch people's attention. But ultimately what obviously the client's paying you for is a transformation, right? Ultimately what they're paying you for is making X amount more per month in profit, or doing this, or whatever that outcome is. Yeah. So how did you go about using that new mechanism that you didn't really know too much about, which is SMS marketing, and actually use it to deliver the desired transformation? Like, how did you go deep into that and learn enough about it where you could deliver the result? Did you hire and then learn yourself? How did you go about doing that?
So what I did was I took a course on SMS. It's a course that I searched. This is the only course that I found. I took it and I searched on Upwork for people who have worked with SMS. And I think there was only, I would say like 6 people that responded to me. And wow. I found this girl, only 6 people that responded to me. And I was willing to pay. In my description, I was willing to pay quite a lot for it because I was like, I really need to know about the service. Yeah. Who's providing it? Like, I need this information to, increase my knowledge in the service. So I found this one person and they were doing SMS already. Well, they were doing email and SMS. So I spoke to them and they knew what they were doing. And I was like, can you teach me about it? I have this one course. I'm here and I've learned all of this. What else do I need? And we spoke together and we just basically made a partnership out of that. So I was like, okay, you're going to handle the service. I'm going to get the clients. And I hired a copywriter also because he really wasn't, he presented himself as a really good copywriter, but later on I realized, no, I can't trust this guy to write any good copy. Yeah, so I hired a really good copywriter. And the one thing that I did also come to realize is my product is the people that I hire. Yes. They essentially determine whether I'm going to keep this client. So I am not going cheap about it. I decided, I used to be very cheap about it. I was like, how can I, deliver the service myself? Or how can I, hire the cheapest media buyer? No, you can't. The talent that you hire really determines whether you're going to deliver a good service. So I decided I'm not going cheap on that. Whether it's, paying 1,200 for this person, I'm willing to do it if I see that, they can deliver the service.
Yeah, I love that. I totally agree. Totally agree. The team is so important because, as you say, they are the product, because the thing that you're delivering comes through the team. I completely agree with that. So kind of off the back of that, where do you go, or where did you go to find the talent? I know you mentioned Upwork, but I think you said that was the person who then eventually was like, oh, not too good. So where did you go about finding your current team? Where did you go about finding them, given that they're such, a quality people? Because I think, again, that's another issue a lot of people have. It's like, I can't find quality talent. I can't, do this. I can't do that. How did you go about that process?
Yeah, it's really, really hard. I really had to search for this specific copywriter. The guy for SMS I found on Upwork, right? But the copywriter is really, really hard. There's a lot of low quality people on Facebook in my experience, right? Yeah. So I went to LinkedIn, Upwork, and just those two. I use people per hour, but I didn't really find anything there. Yeah, so LinkedIn.
LinkedIn was where you eventually actually hired the copywriter through?
Yeah, I found it through LinkedIn, but for both of them, I used Upwork and LinkedIn.
Interesting. Yeah. So did you go about, I'm always curious on this topic. Did you go about like selling the talent in a certain way? Because again, a lot of the time people have the issue of like, they'll say, oh, I can't find good talent. And then I'll go, okay, cool. Show me like your job posting. Show me like how you're acquiring the talent. And they're like, oh, it's just, $600 per month per client. And, we're a cool agency. And like, that's it. And they expect amazing talent to come through on posting of that nature. And it's just like, That's why, you know what I mean?
I was
And one thing that I
wondering.
always say, one thing I always say is like, you've got to sell your team as if you're selling a client, because it's acquisition. It's not client acquisition, it's talent acquisition. You still need to sell them. So how did you go about that process of acquiring the talent as well?
100%. You're speaking the gospel truth there. I was one of those people. I was one of those people.
I think I've been, I've done it as well. I think we've all been
Yeah.
there.
So 100%, I really had to sell them. And the one thing that, also made a difference is I told them, look, whatever you need, whether that's upskilling, anything that you need to become a better person, and I want you to become that better person. I want you to even become better than I am. I'm willing to invest. So what I did was also, we came to an agreement that, whatever software that they need to upskill, there's AdWorld, there's all of these certain softwares, I subscribe to it and I make sure I give them access. So that upskilling is also a benefit for really, really good talent, They don't just care about money, but also they want to become really good people. So whether that's, and I noticed, other people do it too, where they give their employees benefits to, like courses and all of that. So I just basically used that, and I was like, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to give them access to all of these things, and I'm going to lay out my vision for the agency transparently. And yeah, they were like, I love this, and that's what I want to do. And I also told them, look, we're not just going to be doing retainers, but we're also going to be doing consulting. So I want you guys to get to the point that I am, so that we all do consulting. And I basically let them in, gave them access to all of these resources. I was really, really transparent. And I know a lot of agencies are scared, because business is a game of trust also, that, what if I give this person access to everything, then they just run away with the information.
Yes.
It's a risk that I had to take. And I think me being that transparent and telling them, look, we're going to upskill together, whatever mindset issue that we have, we're going to work on it both together. They were like, damn, like, so nobody ever told me this. This is so cool. I'm definitely signing on to this. So yeah.
So yeah, I completely agree with that for sure. The training side is super powerful. I mean, even my one of my team members sent me a training the other day, and he was like, what are your thoughts on this? I was like, dude, just book in a call and just see if you think it's valuable. Buy it. I'll buy it for you. You know what I mean? Like, it's completely fine. I think that's so
cool. Wow.
Yeah, I just think it's super powerful when it's like, because obviously it's going to make your service a lot more effective. It's going to, as you say, it's going to make them a lot more effective. And I love what you just said there as well about kind of stepping outside of business almost, and just like, we're going to make you a better person. We're going to, you're going to be a far better person by virtue of working here. I think that's a really powerful insight for sure. So kind of, again, like I kind of mentioned before, we started, I said a lot of people probably watching this video right now are more beginning, right? They're just starting out. They don't really know the direction they want to go in. So aside from what you mentioned before about observing the market, which I completely agree with, and not just kind of blindly following just whatever it is, what are a few, like one to two other things that you would say are super important when starting out in the current market as well, right? Because previously you technically could blindly follow. You could just send a couple of emails and you probably sign a few clients because like nobody was doing it. But in the current market, it's very, very different. So yeah, what were a couple of other things you would say to people who are just starting out? I'm see you where you're at as like, oh my God, I want to be there so much. Like, what are the few things that they should focus and implement on to get to that point?
I would say, number one, only have a few people in your ear. I think with the world getting so complex and everything's going out to like more, try and simplify everything in your life. Say, for example, only have Kai in your ear, finish the course from A to B. I mean, A to Z. I see a lot of people don't even finish the course. That's also another thing. Finish the course, do what he says completely. Only have Kai in your ear. And then what's the other thing? Do a lot of research. 80% of the emails that I sent, 80% of that came from research. If you really want to approach e-commerce clients, you really have to know what their needs and desires are. So do a lot of research on that. Know your clients, your clients. Just like I advise my clients to know about their customer avatar, I've implemented in my business as well. So have a few people in your ear. Do a lot of research on your customer.
Just on the research side, I think that's a super important point. Are you going more from like a volume perspective in your emails, or are you going more research based in terms of like not just your ideal client, but the respective client you're reaching out to with that email? Are you going like lower volume and deeper in that email, or do you mean, as I say, like just overarching, like know your niche, do niche research?
Yeah, niche research, yes, but also about the client that you're approaching, because a lot of these people get like mass emails and like mass DMs and all of that. So I wouldn't recommend that you do that. Find a balance between where you can personalize, but also send the right amount of email that is volume. So it's important finding that right balance, but never just send out mass emails. I would never ever do that. Like, no.
Yeah.
That's just not going to work. So yeah, I think that's what I would say.
Yeah. That's awesome. I think it's a really good angle. It's a very good insight that's needed to be heard in this day and age. Like I've been going pretty hard on this narrative on my Instagram recently, but it's needed to be said. You know what I mean? Like just blindly following, doing, implementing on things that like everybody else is doing is just not going to work. Again, you're a perfect example of that.
Not at all. Yeah. Especially now when everybody, like I said, everybody has access to the same audience. Everybody has access to you. Like if you just never do that, guys, please never ever do that. Just try and be as different as possible, and that's how you're going to sign clients, not by doing what everybody else is doing. 100%.
I love that. That's awesome. I think that's a good note to end on. I think. Was there any kind of final like words of encouragement or anything like that? I think this entire interview is super encouraging. I think a lot of people will be motivated because, again, you're a perfect example of the impact that you can have by just being different, changing your offer, providing different solutions to different problems. Was there any final words of encouragement?
I would say approach business in the sense of problem solving, have that problem solving aspect of it. Don't approach it like, okay, I'm just going to copy paste this template, but think of it in that aspect. Number one. Number two is, I'd say if, you're from where I'm from, you're from a third world country, work on your mindset. I don't know about other people, but I can only speak for myself. Not everybody else starts on the same level, right? So I really had to work on my mindset quite a lot. I had so many limiting beliefs. The fact that I was a woman, the fact that, I even questioned my own intelligence. If you see all these people, they're making it happen and they signing so many clients, and I was doing it for like 8 months straight with no client, nothing to show for, and I left university for this. So it affects your your mental state, and it makes you question everything. So really work on your mindset, really work on those limiting beliefs. And also there was the one thing that I wanted to say. What was it? I can't remember it right now, but
I think that the point that you made of it doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter who you are. Like you mentioned, like you're a female. Obviously, this is an industry that's predominantly male. But I mean, I don't really know why either, right? Because there's literally no difference between a male or a female. There's no difference. But it's just like for some reason.
Right now, I think that. But the thing is, women tend to not have as much confidence as men. That's one thing I've realized. So even if they're doing well, they don't, they still, I don't know what it is about us, but we're not as confident as a lot of the males, or we don't go aggressively for what we want. And that's the thing that I struggled with a lot. And I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Maybe it's I'm a female, I don't know. But I've gone through that. And right now at the stage where I'm like looking down and I'm like, oh, that's not it, honey. That's not it.
Yeah.
Definitely not. Yeah.
Have you experienced that? Have you realized, because I you know, if we're being honest, there is people do have like pre-existing ideas and notions around certain, like you know, whether it's a race or it's this or it's that. Have you actually physically experienced that it's held you back, or is it, has it for you specifically all been in your head and it's just you telling yourself that? All been in your head.
It's
Okay,
all been
cool.
in my head.
There you go.
It's all, even with the race thing, you see, I thought like, oh my goodness, maybe it's because I'm from Africa, like, and I do feel like, you know, certain people have some type of way, like, oh, you're from Africa, maybe like you're gonna scam me, perhaps, you know, but 100%, I think it was like 80% all in my head. Yeah, so I had all of those limiting beliefs. I'm from a third world country, I'm Black, I'm female, oh God. And it's like, that's what the media also tells you, you know. So it's like, you really, that's why I say, have only a few people in your ear. Don't listen to everybody, because that's how you get lost. And yeah, I totally forgot. Last thing that I wanted to say was, don't give up. Ah, God, I'm so grateful I didn't give up. Like, I still today, I wake up and I'm like, thank fuck I didn't give up. Like, wow. Yeah,
that's definitely a big one. I mean, it's if you don't give up, you can't really fail, right? Because like it's gonna happen at some point. And again, it's that fine line between not giving up, staying consistent, but also adapting. And I think, again, you're a perfect example of that, because if you kept not giving up and you kept consistent, but you didn't change what you were doing, you didn't change the approach you were taking, then you wouldn't have experienced any results, you know. But you didn't give up, you stayed consistent, but you adapted based on what you were seeing and based on what you were experiencing, the feedback you were getting from prospects and all that type of stuff. You iterated on it, and then that gave you that little breakthrough. And now look at you, you know, it's
absolutely
awesome to see.
Thank you so much. I probably would have given up a lot. Like, I had so many job offers, and I remember approaching, I'm not sure if I'm going to butcher his name, but Siraj, one of the guys in the group as well. And I remember asking him, like, is this even real? Like, can people make money online? I have a job offer and I don't know if I should take it. Like, please tell me. And he was like, yes, it's real. Just keep pushing and keep pushing. Like, I'm going to cry. Like, just, but never give up. Never give up.
Yeah, it's super important, 100%. I really like that as well, what you're saying about like no matter where you're from and whatnot, because I think that's another really big limiting belief that a lot of people do have.
Big one.
Yeah, it's I think it's the biggest, right? Like they think that they can't do it because I'm this, or I'm here, or whatever it is. There's so many. I love it. And I think this was going to be very, very motivational for everybody watching. So I deeply appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much, Kai. I can't thank you enough. It's so cool that I'm on this call.
It's a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you. Okay,
it's a pleasure to have you on.